21st century. We have laser scanners, diamond saws, machines worth millions of dollars. And yet, there is not a single engineering firm on the face of this earth that can replicate the walls of Sacsayhuamán. Look at this stone. 100 tons, heavier than a fighter jet, and it locks into its neighbor without a single gap. You could not slide a knife blade between the joints. Now, look at this corner. That hard stone curves, wrapping around the stone beside it, as if it were not stone at all, but hot wax poured into a mold. This is not just stacking. This is liquid, frozen into a perfect shape. So how, supposedly with nothing but bronze chisels and a length of rope, did they pull it off? Welcome back to Ancient Engineering, where we take apart the achievements that should not exist. Let us get one thing straight, right up front. This is not a story about aliens. There are no flying saucers here, no little green men coming down to stack the stones. What I am proposing is far more down to earth, and precisely because of that, far more unsettling. A civilization that was once advanced, far more advanced than we dared to admit, that then collapsed at the end of the last ice age, its knowledge scattered to every corner of the globe. And all that is left are the ruins we now call mysteries. Now, what do the history books tell us? We are told these giant stones were carved with bronze tools, rolled up the hill on wooden logs and human muscle, then ground down, tested, and fitted over and over for years until they finally matched on their own. Trial and error, patience, sweat. That is the official version. Neat, safe, comfortable enough to print in a textbook. But there is only one question that matters. Does that story actually hold up the moment you stop reading the text and start staring at the stone itself? Start with the most obvious thing, the weight. The largest block at Sacsayhuamán is estimated at 120 to 200 tons. Sit with what that means for a second. One stone, not the whole wall, one single stone, heavier than a fully loaded passenger jet. And that stone was not born where it stands. It had to be dragged from a quarry miles away across rough terrain. And then, here is the part that makes modern engineers shake their heads. Hauled uphill, up an incline, with rope and muscle. Offer that job to any contractor working today, and they will laugh you out of the room. But hold on, weight is only the first puzzle, and honestly, it is the easy one. Now, look at the shape. These are not uniform rectangular blocks. Every stone in this wall has a unique profile. No two are alike. One has 5 angles, its neighbor has 7, and each one locks perfectly into 3, 4, 5 surrounding stones at once. Every curve on one stone finds its exact match on another. Try doing that by guesswork. Try grinding and refitting a 200-ton stone over and over until it fits. One wrong strike of the chisel, and that stone shatters, and years of work vanish in an instant. And all of this, listen carefully, was done on hard andesite and limestone. Stone so dense that a bronze tool would go dull and wear out long before it left a meaningful mark. The metal they had was softer than the stone they were shaping. Let that impossibility sink in for a moment. Then there is a detail almost no one notices. Look at the edges of the joints. The surfaces seem to soften, like they melted, rounded off, flowed into the stone beside them. Not a carved surface, a surface that seems to have once been soft. The exact same phenomenon we find on the glass-coated stones in Peru, surfaces with a plastic quality, as if they were poured, not cut. So we are facing 2 mysteries stacked on top of each other, moving 200 tons up a mountain. that is one problem. But shaping it to fit perfectly, angle by angle, on stone harder than the tools that carved it, that is a mystery that runs far, far deeper. If bronze tools are impossible, if guesswork is impossible, then the answer has to lie somewhere else. And this is where our investigation splits into 3 directions, each one more unsettling than the last. Let us start with the oldest, the strangest, and oddly enough, the one that makes the most sense. What if the stone was never carved hard at all, because the stone was once soft? All across the Andes, passed down mouth to mouth, there is a stubborn legend, a story about a liquid, a brew made from certain plants, capable of softening the hardest stone into something as soft as dough. And this legend does not stand alone. Spanish explorers recorded the story of a small bird in Peru that built its nest in solid rock. How? It rubbed a single leaf against the surface, and the stone melted, forming a perfect hollow. That bird, they said, knew a secret that had been lost to mankind. Sounds like a fairy tale. Of course it does. But hold that laugh and look at the stone. Picture this stone treated not like granite, but like wet clay. You do not carve it. You press it. You mold it against the stone beside it. Let it flow to fill every gap, and then it hardens again. And suddenly, everything that was impossible becomes reasonable. The perfectly fitted angles? Natural, because one stone was molded directly onto the shape of its neighbor. The edges that seem to melt? Not seam. Those are melt marks. The surface that flows like wax? That is exactly what you would see if that stone had, for a moment, stopped being stone. But a legend cannot cut granite. We need a mechanism. And that mechanism brings us to the second layer. Heat, fire, the sun. This is where the name Professor Ivan Watkins comes in, a geologist and stoneworking specialist from St. Cloud State University. Watkins did not stare at legends, he stared at the stone under a microscope. And what he found changed everything. On the surface of Inca stone, the quartz within it had melted, fused into a thin, glassy layer that filled every imperfection, leaving a surface as smooth as satin. There was a plastic quality to those stones, as if they had been baked. And heat like that does not come from a chisel. Watkins proposed something bold. Remember, the people who built Sacsayhuamán were the Inca, the same people who worshiped the sun above every other god. Watkins found parabolic gold dishes stored in Peruvian museums, concave, polished to a mirror shine. Dishes that, if made from a gold and silver alloy, could catch sunlight and concentrate it into a single burning point of heat. Conquistador records even mention one giant gold disc, as wide as 2 grown men standing arm to arm, that they melted down and shipped back to Spain. Watkins tested it with focused energy equivalent to a 100-watt laser on a point 2 millimeters wide. He found something. Stone could be cooked. Through repeated heating, its mineral bonds broke apart, a process he called thermal disaggregation. The sun, focused with enough precision, could cut the hardest stone in the world, silently, without a single hammer blow. Peru gets blazing sunlight year-round, and the giant granite pillars at Machu Picchu, Watkins suspected, may once have been mounts for those enormous mirrors. Credible, but there is still one more layer, the hardest one to believe, and precisely because of that, the most tempting. Sound. What if these stones were not dragged up the mountain by muscle, but moved by vibration? This is not cheap science fiction. A serious field of research called archaeoacoustics is now finding that ancient sites all over the world, Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe, the Great Pyramid, have undeniable acoustic properties, chambers designed to amplify sound waves, and the question hangs there: for what? Modern physics has already proven that acoustic levitation is real. Sound waves at the right frequency can hold an object suspended in the air. And sonic drilling, vibration at a specific resonant frequency, has been shown to cut through solid stone faster than a diamond drill bit. The numbers are not fantasy. A tuning fork, 12 inches long, resonating at 1100 hertz, enough to vibrate a cutting rod so it slices granite like a hot knife through butter. Now, pull it all back to Sacsayhuamán. What if the right frequency could reduce the effective weight of a 200-ton block? What if the stone was not lifted, but tapped into position, vibrated until it settled into place? Suddenly, that uphill mountain is not an obstacle anymore. 3 layers, 3 different answers. Soften it, burn it, vibrate it. Each one sounds impossible on its own. But look back at the stone, the melted edges, the glass-glazed satin surface, the interior angles that lock together perfectly. All that evidence points to the same conclusion. This is not the work of chisel and rope. This is the work of a technology. A technology that mastered stone in a way we are only beginning to grasp again today. And the Inca themselves left behind one clue that raises the hair on the back of your neck. They called one of those giant blocks the piedra cansada, the tired stone. According to their own story, that stone once moved toward the wall of its own will, then stopped halfway as if it had run out of strength and never made it. A stone weighing hundreds of tons that moved and then grew tired. The question is, why would a people invent a story about a walking stone unless they had once watched a stone move in a way they could not explain? And here is the part that is most unsettling. This same signature does not stop in Peru. Go up to Ollantaytambo, the same flawless joints cross the continent to Pumapunku, angles cut as if by machine. Jump to Giza, drop down into the Osirian in Egypt, giant granite stones with a precision that defies their age. Thousands of miles apart, oceans in between, and yet the fingerprint is identical. It is not that many civilizations happen to discover the same thing by coincidence. It is one body of knowledge scattered across the world after the parent civilization fell. So, how did they do it? Not with rope, not with bronze chisels, but by working stone through methods we are only beginning to rediscover today. Mainstream history still does not have an answer that survives a face-off with the stone itself. But every piece of physical evidence, the melted edges, the glass-glazed surfaces, the impossible angles, points in the same direction. A technology that mastered the forces of nature, then vanished from our memory. Now it is your turn to decide. Which theory convinces you most? The sun, the sound, or the softening of stone? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. If this investigation made you rethink what we really know about the past, hit that like button and subscribe, because there are a lot more secrets we have not cracked open yet.